Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of the Wildlife Diaries. Hope you've had a fantastic week wherever you might be, and I'm super excited to share this episode of the Diaries with you guys. Now, as always, we'll hear from all the guides, see what they've been up to, from Gerry, who's going to give us some thoughts or first impressions of his recent trip to Madagascar. We're going to catch up with Mike to find out how his week in the Masai Mara went, hosting our Masai Mara experience. Trevor's also heading up there pretty soon in the next few days, so he's going to share some thoughts about that safari. But unfortunately we won't hear from Marlon and Alistair this week. Marlon is busy hosting a safari in Luangwa, where he's staying at Somalisa camp, so unfortunately reception is not great there at the moment. And then Alistair is currently in Botswana hosting our Best of Botswana safaris. But I'm sure once these guys are back, they're going to give us a good update, and I'm really excited to see what they've been up to and sightings that they've had. But to start this episode off, I'd like to share some highlights from a sightings point of view. I've just recently returned from 2 weeks on the road hosting safaris in South Luangwa as well as Mana Pools. Now, both these destinations in October is simply incredible. It is really difficult to find a destination that matches these two from an experience point of view and also from a photographic point of view. But I want to share some highlights, as I mentioned, two that really stood out for me in South Luangwa. And the first thing was, as a guide, you have some of these must-see sightings during your career. There's some things that really stand out, whether it be your first kill, your first river crossing. But for me, something that I've really wanted to see and experience was lions taking down a buffalo. There's been so many documentaries made of this, the rivalry that's gone on for many years, and in this week in South Luangwa it actually happened, which I was super excited about. Now, we arrived in South Luangwa quite late in the evening, and so we just did a short drive around camp, but then headed out first thing in the morning to try and see what we can find out there, get a feel for the land. And funny enough, we got to the Luangwa River and we heard these monkeys and baboons alarm calling, and we immediately sort of tried to go into that area to see what they were alarm calling. Maybe it was a leopard, maybe a part of lions. And then we heard this distress call of a buffalo, and I was super excited. I can remember trying to get to the area where we heard these or this alarm call, and unfortunately for us there was like a gully and we couldn't get there soon enough, but we came around the corner and there were these lions. I think it was about 16 of them down feeding off this buffalo. They literally killed it maybe 2 minutes earlier, and these thoughts obviously run through your mind. I was thinking maybe if we could just have been there 3 or 4 minutes earlier, we could have seen this. But anyway, still an incredible sighting, and guests really enjoyed the experience. But it was the next morning that again we headed out. It was pretty quiet. It was starting to warm up, which in the Luangwa Valley in October is from about 7 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, okay, well, it's probably time maybe to sort of start heading back. And we found, well, it started off as 4 lions, and they were on this sort of dry, maybe seasonal pan, if you can call it that, maybe like a dry pool. And in the distance were I think it was about 5 or 6 big dugger boys, big buffalo bulls, and they were clearly interested, stalking. So I said to the guests, we all decided let's hang tight, see what happens. Maybe when it warms up, these buffalo could head into the shady areas, and possibly maybe then action could happen. And then, to our absolute amazement, this young lioness started running. She came out of nowhere, started running through this open area, this open seasonal pan, straight toward these buffalo. Now, if you've been on safari numerous times, you would know animals can make you either look extremely good or like an absolute idiot, which in this case I said to the guests, there's no chance. We all said, what is this lioness doing? It's going to spoil the hunt, whatever it may be. And anyway, she carried on running straight towards these buffalo, which then made them turn and run. Now, whether it was planned out or if it just happened that way, only 2 lions then went after these buffalo. So that then meant this one buffalo bull turned, thinking he'll take his chances against 2 lions. But the next minute there were 2 others that joined, and before you knew it, there was about, I think, 5 or 6 lions surrounding this buffalo, and it was incredible. Good light in an open area, a sighting that probably will never happen again. I hope it does, but probably never will. And it was phenomenal to see the interaction, running around this buffalo, jumping on the back, trying to sort of bring him down. And this fight carried on for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Eventually this one lioness jumped on top of this buffalo and managed to bring it down. And then all of a sudden, again, out of nowhere appeared, I think it was another 10 or 12 lions, just in the middle of nowhere. Next minute, 16, 17 lions feeding off this buffalo. We were absolutely astounded, and it was incredible to see. I mean, I was so nervous and unsure what to do, whether to take videos, whether to take photos. But eventually what mattered is the guests managed to capture some amazing images, some incredible videos, and it's definitely a moment that will stay with us for forever, really. It's not something you get to see every single day. And the second sighting that really stood out for me was, this happened at Nsefu. So we stayed at Tena Tena for 3 nights, and then we moved over to Nsefu camp for 4 nights. And we caught wind, or actually one of the guests, Sylvia, she told me about this female leopard with a cub that is hanging around the Nsefu area, and that she had seen some images on social media. Now, usually, personally, I don't really pay too much attention to things beforehand, before I go to an area, as this can often create like a bit of a hype around it, and also a bit of an expectation. So anyway, we heard about this female leopard and the cub that's been in the area, so we went and looked for it, and it took probably about 3 days or so looking. We found the mom walking around hunting, but we had no sign of the cub anywhere. I think it was on day 3, if I'm not mistaken. We found this female leopard with a cub in a tree, and what followed was it was something unbelievable. I'm actually lost for words. She was, like, as I mentioned, with a kill in the tree, playing around, feeding. Then she moved the kill. The mom moved the kill into a massive fig tree in the afternoon, and we spent hours with them. Literally 3 full game drives that we spent with this cub and mom. And the cub dropped the kill from the tree numerous times, often leading to mom's frustration. It was simply phenomenal, and it's something that I really enjoyed, that the guests really enjoyed. It was spending good quality time with a particular animal. You really get to understand their behavior, and after 3 game drives, we must have spent good 7, 8, maybe even more hours with the 2 of them. You really sort of form a kind of bond with those animals, and the images and the videos that the guests managed to capture was simply incredible. It's well worth the safari. If you're planning to go to South Luangwa, I would highly recommend it. October, perfect time of the year. It is hot, but the game viewing is just phenomenal. Both these camps, Tena Tena and Nsefu, are based on the Luangwa River, and that's where you want to be. With all the animals moving towards the river, you simply can't go wrong. It is a spectacular experience. And then from there, Mana Pools for 5 nights. Again, staying with Munilunga Safaris. Everything you get to expect nowadays from Mana Pools. We had great sightings of the dogs, the beautiful forest, having elephants walking through there. The light through there is absolutely incredible. And again, also in October, you've got the dust as well. So incredible experience, amazing group of guests, and guys, the safaris for South Luangwa and Mana Pools, it's on our website. I can't recommend this highly enough. It is a phenomenal experience, and as a combo, I really can't think of a much better destination to go to, combining South Luangwa and Mana Pools. But as I mentioned, the details are on our website. Please go check it out. You definitely won't be disappointed. But that's it from my experience this week. Like I mentioned, it's good to be back. It's been a crazy busy 2 weeks for me, in a good way. I really enjoyed spending time out in the field. But let's catch up with all the guides and see what they've been up to this last week.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Wild Eye Diaries. Just an update, I'll keep it short and sweet from my side this week. It's been quite a busy week in office. I've been in the office for a couple of weeks now, but I'm busy prepping to head out on safari. I'm going to be on safari for just over 3 weeks. I'm super excited to get out into the field again. So this week, just catching up on mails, emailing guests that are on my upcoming safaris, getting in touch with them, just answering some last minute questions before safari. But I head out on Saturday evening. I fly out to Kenya, back to the Masai Mara. I'm there for 2 weeks. Super excited to be heading back to the Mara. Mike's just returned from the first Mara experience week after the Great Migration season, and as you've heard in the last or previous episodes and the updates from the guys, it's been a very different year in terms of animal movements. There's a number of different factors that have affected that, but we are now seeing masses of wildebeest and zebra in the Mara Triangle, and a number of them have moved north towards the escarpment as well as west into the Serengeti. But we've got reports recently of another big herd that are on their way westwards towards the Mara Triangle. So I'm pretty excited to get up there. Hopefully going to see lots of wildebeest, lots of zebra, potentially a couple of crossings. We'll hold thumbs for that, and then obviously all the predator activity. And I've just recently written a blog on reflecting over the past year and my first year in the Masai Mara, how the different periods of the year have offered a different experience, a unique experience, but all an incredible experience. I'll leave the link over here. Go check it out. Very cool read. Looking forward to heading up there for 2 weeks. I then come back for a night, and then head off for Thorny Bush Sabi Sand Safari, which I'm also really excited about. I headed up there earlier in the year just to check things out, do a bit of a site visit, and was blown away by firstly the 2 lodges, the 2 reserves, and then the game viewing. So it's how the safari works is it's 8 nights in total. The first 4 nights are spent at a lodge called Tengala in Thorny Bush. Really excited to get back to the reserve. I haven't spent much time in there, but it's a great reserve, very diverse. It's also open to the Kruger National Park, so it's open system reserve. The fences were dropped last year in August, if I'm not mistaken, which allows more land for the wildlife, and obviously the animals can move freely between the reserves. So excited to head up there and see what Thorny Bush has to offer, and then we end off with 4 nights in the northern parts of the Sabi Sands. It's a beautiful area of the sands, very different to the south and what I was used to working at Londo's. But yeah, very good for cats. The Sabi Sands generally is. So looking forward to seeing what the Sabi Sands as well as Thorny Bush provides for myself and my guests. I have no doubt that it is going to be a great safari, and I'm really looking forward to it. And that's pretty much me then for the year. That's my safaris done. I kick off again in January with a private, but that's something for another episode. So yeah, brief from me this week. Still organizing, sorting out things, just making last minute arrangements before heading off on safari. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that you have all had a great week. I hope that you're enjoying the diaries. And once again, if there's anything that you would like us to feature in these diaries, please, I'll leave my email here as well. Get in touch. I'll gladly assist where I can. But for me, that's it. My next update is going to be from the Mara next week. And yeah, catch you all then. Have a good day. Cheers, guys.
Hello everyone, and I hope that you're doing exceptionally well. I'm currently standing on the banks of the Mara River, and I thought I'll take a little bit of time to update you as to what I've been up to as of late. I've hosted a Masai Mara experience safari, incredible week, and myself and all the guests that joined were absolutely blown away by what we witnessed throughout our 7 days here in the Masai Mara. Obviously, the month of October is the shoulder, or going into the shoulder season of the Great Migration, or of the safari season within the Masai Mara. But we were blessed with hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of wildebeests covering and blanketing the plains of the Mara. We were blessed with 6 magnificent crossings, great predator action, and just general game is teeming all over this place, as it usually does. So absolutely phenomenal week. The staff, incredible as usual. We had a blast out here. I am flying out in the next couple of hours. I land in Joburg. I'll be there for 2 days, and by the time you're watching this, I'll be hosting a safari in Madikwe Game Reserve. But short and sweet from me this week. I hope that you have a lovely weekend and a great week next week. That's it for me this week. Have a good one. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, so it feels like I almost need to reintroduce myself because I haven't been here for a long time. I'm in the office here for the first time in almost 2 months. I'm going to just run this in reverse order, and then we're going to talk Madagascar. So I recently came from South Luangwa, short version, very hot, insane sightings. Madagascar for a week, we'll talk about that now. Before then I was in the Mara for Great Migration, which was ridiculously awesome as always. Before that I was actually in South Africa for 2 or 3 nights, but it was over a weekend, so I wasn't in the office. Before then, Turkey. Actually, maybe I must do a Turkey video as well. We'll talk about it. Went offline completely. Loved it. I cannot explain to you how amazing this place was. The people, the food, everything. Before then, New York for a couple of days. Before then, Toronto for a couple of days. Before then, Great Bear Rainforest. And before then, the Masai Mara again. So it's been crazy busy. And I'm not complaining. I dig it. I love chaos. I thrive in it. But being back now, so I brought a bit of a throat with me from either Madagascar or South Luangwa. It was hot, and then humid and walking and stuff. But for this diary insert, I just wanted to show you and talk a little bit about the Madagascar experience. So first of all, check this out. So those are Indries. They are the biggest of the lemurs, and they are ridiculously cool. Now that sound for them is kind of a territorial vocalization. Standing in a primary forest, I mean deep, huge, massive trees, and that sound, that was only the ones you saw there now. I think there was 3 calling pretty close by. And standing in a forest and hearing a whole troop of about 20 of these things go off, it is ridiculous. I'll play some of the sound later on as well. And it's something that obviously you can't photograph it. You can photograph the mouth going, ooh, whatever. But the experience of just standing there. I mean, we listened to this again and again. We would hear them in the forest. We would find them and just go and listen to the sound. It's ridiculous. So the trip was only 7 days, and a short version, I still have to do a bit of a trip report on it once I figure out the chaos that is my desk over there. We saw, off the top, probably about 8 different lemurs. We saw maybe 10, if not more, types of chameleons. The landscapes are great. So, do you want to go to Madagascar? Yes. From a wildlife photography and pure photography and experience point of view, yes. Is it for everybody? No, it's not. It's very third world. It's a very poor country. And you need to be able to roll with the punches while traveling. Now, I know a lot of people, when they travel, they get a little bit tense and nervous and whatever the case might be. But that's why we're there. So I do that for you. But it's not a place for everybody. If you are the kind of photographer or wildlife enthusiast that wants big game after big game, leopard after lion, after chase, after kill, this is not for you. It's a way more easy approach. Now, I'm taking it as a photographic educator, where being able to stand sometimes 2 meters, if not less, from some of the lemurs that are more habituated around the lodges And being able to teach photography was amazing because we've got stuff to work with. You can actually stand there and say, right, try depth of field if you take a step this way and that way, which is not always possible with a normal safari. So photographic-wise, me, it was amazing. The images my guests walked away with, amazing. But like I said, the accommodation, sometimes a little bit on the basic side. The travel is sometimes difficult because you cannot fly everywhere, you have to drive. So sometimes 5, 6, even 7 hours of drive on windy roads. And this is a topic for a podcast, which I'm looking at as well. But you are going to experience real third world poverty when you drive through Antananarivo and to some of these places. It just is what it is. But I think that strengthens for me the experience of the whole place. I didn't quite know what to expect when we went there when I arrived there, but I want to go back. Definitely want to go back. It was surprising, it was humbling, it was a great experience. So all in all for me, Madagascar, definitely a trip I am going to be putting together, if not for 2019 because of availability, but for 2020, we'll see how it goes. But I'm just going to play some of those lemur sounds in the background again because it's cool. So any questions you guys have on Madagascar, it is ridiculous. I will be sharing some trip reports on the blog. I've done 2 podcasts, which you can just head up to iTunes, type in Wildlife Photography Podcast, go and listen to those where I discuss more about the experience. But yeah, lemurs, chameleons, experience, nature, forest, it was amazing. Anyway, more to come. If you have questions, my email is down here. Give me a shout, and I'll be happy to help to get you to Madagascar. For now, I am back in the office for 3 weeks. I'm not sure what they're going to do with me, but I'm flying to the Mara for a wildlife photography workshop on the 9th of November. So for the next couple of diaries, I will be in town, which is quite exciting. Anyway, thanks for watching as always, guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Hi guys, no, I'm not Andrew, but I am hosting this week's episode of the Wildlife Diaries. And Andrew has been, amongst the thick of things, very busy in the office, and he's asked for this week's episode if you can include a video that he took of a private safari that he hosted at Mana Pools and Chitake Springs. It's an amazing video, you're going to love it. Here we go, here's Andrew's insert for this week's Wildlife Diaries.
them running in there.